A 24-year-old Michigan mother has been charged with involuntary manslaughter in regards to the death of her 5-year-old son, his name Lamar Tyrone Mitchell, who was found frozen to death in a Clinton Township park in Michigan in January 2023. Prosecutors said that the mother, Derricka Fleming, put her son, Lamar Tyrone Mitchell, to bed in their apartment January the 23rd before going upstairs to visit a neighbor. While she was gone, the boy got out of bed and left the apartment. He was later found in a nearby park and tragically pronounced dead at a hospital. The mother was arraigned Wednesday morning and faces up to 15 years in prison, if she's convicted. We have a quote from the Macomb County prosecutor, which is, "As the prosecutor in this case, we are deeply saddened by the tragic and preventable loss of a young life. The charges against the mother, Derricka Fleming, reflect the gravity of the situation and the responsibility that she bears in the death of her son. The evidence suggests a severe breach of parental duty and neglect that led to this devastating outcome." So it is, of course, an absolute tragedy. Full condolences to other family members that lost their loved one, Lamar Tyrone Mitchell. Presumably he has a father. We don't know if the father was involved in his life. Full condolences to the father and other family members. I'm going to comment a little bit. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to say, and I feel that I might be saying some things that some may strongly disagree with. I'm not a parent. With that, I don't feel that my opinion, my judgment is overly informed. I'm somewhat ignorant in regards to the actual pressures that a parent faces. I'm going to be honest and say that I'm a little bit conflicted by the situation. Ultimately, the mother, Derricka Fleming, left her son unattended, and due to tragic circumstances, he lost his life. If he wasn't left unattended, I think it's fair to say that that would not have happened. So the mother does bear responsibility. The situation, the tragic loss, was preventable. So I do agree with the Macomb County prosecutor's statement in that regard. But I'm going to counter it to an extent. The mother put her son to bed. She left the apartment. She shouldn't have done that. But I'm going to say people aren't perfect. Parents aren't perfect. She shouldn't have done that. I'm not trying to overly excuse her behavior, but seemingly she went from one apartment to another upstairs. So she didn't go to the casino. She didn't run away to another state. She didn't go on a drug or alcohol bender. As far as we understand, the Macomb County prosecutor does say that the evidence suggests a severe breach of parental duty and neglect. So perhaps there's more to the story that we're not being told from this article. We're not told how long the mother left her son alone. But I feel, my guess, my assumption is that the mother meant no harm to her child. The mother did what she felt was adequate to secure her child. She was wrong, but she thought that putting him to bed, letting him know that he's going upstairs for a little bit, something like that. Maybe she didn't say that, but putting him to bed and leaving the apartment. I presume she closed the door. I presume she locked the door. Could be wrong. I can imagine that that's something that parents do from time to time. I can imagine that's something that good parents do. Leave the house for a very short period of time to speak with the neighbor about this or that and then dash back home. I'm sure that that is something that occurs all the time, a lot. Should it occur? No. It could have been avoidable. It could have been preventable. If she needed to speak with her neighbor, she could have picked up the phone. She could have sent a text. She could have asked the neighbor to come round to her apartment. Some may argue, well, she could have called for a babysitter, which is true, but is that realistic? Are you going to call a babysitter just because you want to spend a few minutes with a neighbor? It's probably a little bit unrealistic. So as I say, I'm not a parent. I don't understand the full pressures of a parent. I do understand the responsibilities of a parent, and the mother unfortunately failed in that regard, but it doesn't seem like that this tragedy was in any way purposeful. The charge is involuntary manslaughter, and there are severe consequences for that. I'm not going to say that that isn't right, but she is facing up to 15 years in prison. I don't feel in a rush to wish that upon her, to be honest. Am I wrong on my thoughts here? I normally am extremely angry with the parents and guardians that inflict harm and danger onto their children, or any children. But in this case, I don't feel full anger towards the mother. She obviously did wrong, but I think if we're honest, it's a wrong that happens a lot, that a lot of parents do, and are going to continue need to do. That doesn't mean it's a full justification, but it is in some regards understandable to a degree. But, you know, maybe my comments are completely out of order. I've made similar comments on a previous case. I remember there was a grandmother who was looking after a toddler, and she left the toddler alone in a laundry room or such for a couple of minutes, and lo and behold, the toddler was kidnapped, if I recall. And I remember a few people in comments said that I was wrong to say that it's understandable that a parent or grandparent could leave their child unattended, even for a split second moment. So as I say, perhaps my take on it is not the best, but I do feel, honestly, in all honesty, I feel some level of sympathy for the mother. She has lost her child. She will presumably be blaming herself for the rest of her life. She's going to be subjecting herself to all kinds of mental torment. Again, I'm presuming that the boy was safely in bed and that the door was correctly closed and that the mother wasn't at the neighbor's house or neighbor's apartment for too long. I may have all of those details incorrect. There may be a lot more to this story than we're told within the one article. Actually, I looked at a couple of articles. We're not given a lot of information. So what's the solution? I guess the solution is, or the lesson to be learned here is, you can't leave your kids alone. You've got to get adequate locks on your doors such that they're not able to unlock the doors and walk out on their own. And I guess the parent has to accept that responsibility and accept that reality. But I'm going to say, how many of your parents, or when you were a parent, when you were a parent of young children, how many of you had special locks on your doors such that a child couldn't unlock them? My guess would be very, very few people would go to the trouble of arranging that. That's my guess. Could be entirely wrong. I just feel that this situation could have happened to anybody. Yes, the mother's actions allowed, enabled, exacerbated the situation, and it all could have been preventable with a little bit more care and attention. So I understand the Macomb County prosecutor mentioning the gravity of the situation and the preventableness of this tragic loss of life. I don't know. I just do feel a little bit of empathy for the mother, and I don't hate the mother in this case based on the info that I've read through. Anyhow, those are my thoughts. Interested to know yours, and if you are angry at my thoughts, if you strongly disagree, that's perfectly fine. Tell me that. You can use a few harsh words if you like. I don't mind. I'm trying to understand these situations better. So if you feel that you've got an ability to educate me or other people, then feel free to do so. I'm going to wrap things up. If you appreciate the coverage, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit, and take care.